Let me tell you exactly what your high school guidance counselor said to you. They sat you down, they pulled out a pamphlet, and they said something like, "You need to go to college. It'll open doors. It's the best investment you'll ever make." And you believed them. Your parents believed them. Your whole family believed them. Because why wouldn't you? This is what everyone does. This is the path. Here's what they didn't tell you. The average student loan debt in America right now is hovering around $37,000 to $50,000. And for many degrees, it's closer to $100,000 to $200,000 when you factor in 4 years of living expenses, interest accrual, and the brutal reality that most degrees don't come with a salary that services that debt comfortably. They didn't tell you that a $50,000 student loan at 6.5% interest, which is the current federal rate, means you are paying back somewhere in the range of $68,000 to $75,000 over a standard 10-year repayment plan. They didn't tell you that the opportunity cost, the money you could have been building with, is worth over $500,000 by retirement. They didn't tell you that the degree they're selling you isn't always a ladder up. For many people, it is a trap. Now, and I want to be extremely clear here, I am not saying college is useless for everyone. If you want to be a surgeon, an engineer, a licensed attorney, absolutely you need that credential. The math makes sense. The barrier to entry is real. But I am talking to the 18-year-old who is being told they have to go study business, communications, psychology, or general arts at a $40,000 a year private university to figure out what they want to do with their life. That is a 6-figure mistake dressed up as ambition, and society has a name for it. I call it the degree trap. Is this. Society has collectively decided that a 4-year degree is the only legitimate signal of intelligence, capability, and ambition. So we funnel 18-year-olds who are legally adults but have never paid a bill in their lives into signing $50,000 to $200,000 worth of debt before they've ever had a job that requires a degree. It's the only transaction in the world where we hand a teenager a 6-figure loan and call it investing in your future. Stop falling for it. All right, let's get into it because this is where most people's brains short circuit. I want you to meet two 18-year-olds. Let's call them Alex and Jordan. Alex follows the traditional path. Alex takes out $50,000 in student loans, goes to a mid-tier university, studies business, graduates at 22 with a degree, a handshake, and a negative net worth of $50,000, plus 4 years of accrued interest. Alex's real debt load at graduation? Closer to $68,000 to $72,000. Alex gets an entry-level marketing job, $42,000 a year. After taxes, that's roughly $2,900 a month. Monthly student loan payment on a standard 10-year repayment plan? $680 a month. That's 23% of Alex's take-home pay. Gone. Every month. Before rent, before food, before a single dollar invested. Alex cannot build wealth. Alex is in survival mode. Now let's look at Jordan. Jordan does not go to college. Jordan graduates high school and spends the next 2 years learning a high-income skill. We'll talk more about what that looks like in a minute. But by age 20, Jordan is working in tech sales or a skilled trade or doing freelance web development, earning $40,000 to $55,000 a year. No degree required at the top firms if you can close. And here's the key. Jordan's parents were going to contribute $50,000 toward college costs. Instead, Jordan and the family make a different decision. That $50,000 gets invested into a broad market S&P 500 index fund at age 18, or realistically accumulated and fully invested by age 22. Let's be conservative and say Jordan has $50,000 invested by age 22, not a single dollar of debt. Now, here's where the math gets absolutely savage. The S&P 500 has returned an average of roughly 10% annually over the last 50 years. If we use a conservative 8% to account for inflation and realistic variance, here's what Jordan's $50,000 looks like over time. Jordan invested once at 22 and walked away a millionaire at 62 without adding a single extra dollar. That's the power of compound interest. Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world, and most 18-year-olds are accidentally opting out of it. Now let's look at Alex's track. Alex spends their entire 20s servicing debt. Alex cannot invest seriously until around age 32, 10 years later than Jordan. Alex finally starts investing $500 a month at 32. At 8% annual return, Alex has about $745,000 at age 62. Jordan, $1,086,000 from a single lump sum investment. Alex, $745,000 from 30 years of monthly contributions, plus the emotional cost of an entire decade in debt. And that doesn't even count the $60,000+ Alex paid back in loans. It doesn't count the psychological toll. It doesn't count the missed business opportunities. It doesn't count the relationships strained by financial stress. The gap isn't just money, it's trajectory. The most dangerous financial mistake isn't spending $50,000, it's spending $50,000 and starting from zero at 32, while your peer is already compounding from $50,000 at 22. The head start is everything. Compound interest doesn't care about your GPA. So if the math is this obvious, why does everyone still do it? That is the most important question in this entire video, and the answer has almost nothing to do with logic and everything to do with psychology. Here's the uncomfortable truth. For a huge percentage of middle-class families, not wealthy families, not struggling families, but specifically middle-class families, sending their kid to a prestigious or brand-name university has almost nothing to do with the quality of education. It is an ego purchase. It's the adult version of buying a luxury car you can't afford because you want your neighbors to see it in the driveway. My daughter goes to Northwestern. My son is studying at Boston University. Sounds impressive. Feels like winning. Signals status. But when you strip away the social performance, what did you actually buy? In many cases, you bought 4 years at a school with a recognizable name, an education that could largely be replicated through targeted online courses, mentorship, and real-world experience, and you financed it at 6.5% interest. That's not an investment. That's status consumption on a payment plan. And this is what behavioral economists call signaling spending. We spend money not for the functional value of what we're buying, but for what it communicates to others about who we are. And the cruelest part? The families doing this most aggressively are often the ones who can least afford it. The genuinely wealthy don't sweat the tuition bill. The struggling working class often can't access the loans. It's the middle class, with just enough income to qualify for massive debt, but not enough assets to absorb it, that get caught in this trap hardest. They stretch, they cosign, they raid retirement accounts. They tell themselves it'll pay off. And then their kid graduates, gets a $42,000 a year job, and moves back into their childhood bedroom. That's not a success story. That's the payment trap, where graduates don't live their 20s, they survive them. Every financial decision filtered through one question: can I afford this after my student loan payment? Can't move cities for an opportunity. Can't start a business. Can't take a lower paying job at a startup that might explode in 3 years. Can't invest, can't breathe. The degree was supposed to unlock freedom. Instead, it built a cage instead. And then, just when Alex is nearly out, around age 32, society has a new promise waiting. Now, buy a house, have kids, save for retirement, you'll be fine. Just keep working until 65, and then you can finally live the life you want. I need you to hear this clearly. The finish line is fake. The traditional script, degree, job, mortgage, 401k, retire at 65, is not a wealth-building strategy. It's a consumption treadmill with a retirement at the end that, for most Americans, doesn't even fully fund itself. The average American retires with less than $200,000 in savings after a lifetime of work, after doing everything right by the traditional playbook. Meanwhile, Jordan, our non-college-going, S&P 500 investing, skill-building friend, has been compounding quietly in the background since age 22. No debt, no handcuffs, full optionality. That is not luck. That is math. Okay, I know what you're thinking. So I just don't go to college? Then what? I just wing it? No, here's the actual alternative, and it's more practical than anything your guidance counselor ever handed you. I call it the 9 to 5 cheat code, and it works like this. Instead of spending 4 years and $50,000 plus dollars getting a general degree, you spend 12 to 24 months acquiring a specific, high-income, market-valued skill, one that people will pay you real money for, right now. Not in theory, not someday, now. Skilled trades, electricians, plumbers, HVAC technicians, are earning $60,000 to $120,000 with 2-year apprenticeships. No student debt, high demand, cannot be outsourced. Tech sales, learning B2B sales, SaaS sales, can get you to $70,000 to $150,000 in total compensation within 3 years. No degree required at the top firm. Coding, UI, UX, digital marketing, data analytics, all learnable through targeted boot camps and self-study in 6 to 18 months, and all currently paying $55,000 to $110,000 entry level in the right markets. You don't need a degree. You need a demonstrable skill and a portfolio. And here's where it gets really interesting. Because while Alex is sitting in a lecture hall at age 19, listening to a tenured professor explain marketing theory from a textbook written in 2011, Jordan is building what I call the shadow portfolio. The shadow portfolio is simple. It's every financial asset you accumulate before your degree-holding peers even start. It's the index fund contributions. It's the Roth IRA opened at 19. It's the side business started at 20. It's the real estate education consumed at 21. By the time Alex walks across a stage at 22 and gets handed a piece of paper, Jordan has 4 years of investing experience, 4 years of compounding, 4 years of real-world income, and $0 of debt. That 4-year head start, financially speaking, is worth more than most degrees. And the ultimate destination of all of this? Wealth without burnout. Not a corner office, not a title on a business card, not a diploma on a wall. Cash-flowing assets that buy back your time. Because here's the real wealth equation that nobody teaches in school. Wealth equals assets that generate income without your time. A salary requires your time every day. A student loan consumes your future time in exchange for past spending. But a growing investment portfolio, a business that runs without you, a skill set that earns you $150 an hour as a freelancer, these buy back your hours. That is freedom. Real, functional, adult freedom. And it starts with the decision you make at 18 about where to put your first $50,000. Look, I'm not here to tell you college is evil. For specific high-barrier professions, the credential matters and the math works. Go, get the degree. It's worth it. But for the majority of 18-year-olds being funneled into generic 4-year degrees at expensive schools, you deserve to see the actual numbers before you sign your name to a financial obligation that will shape the next decade of your life. The math is brutal. The opportunity cost is real. And the alternative path? It works if you're willing to be intentional, build real skills, and start compounding now instead of 32. If this video made you think differently about one thing, the real cost of that diploma, hit the subscribe button, because next week we're going deep on the exact 5 high-income skills you can learn without a degree that are paying $80,000 plus in 2025 and beyond. And if you've got a younger sibling, a nephew, a son or daughter about to make this decision, share this video with them. It might be the most valuable 15 minutes they spend this year. I'll see you in the next one.